Hello everybody. Today is August 13th, 2014. I'm sure that all of you by now have heard about the death of Robin Williams. Robin Williams committed suicide by hanging himself. They did say that there were cuts on his wrists. I guess maybe, that would lead one to believe that maybe he was going to cut his wrists and maybe it hurt too much, and he decided a less painful way and a quicker way would be hanging. So he did hang himself. His wife had gone out to do errands, so she was not at home. His assistant found him. Not sure if the assistant was living in the home or just came by. I do know the assistant continually knocked on the bedroom door. There was no answer when they went in. They found him with a belt around his neck, and he was in a sitting position, slightly elevated from the bed. That just kind of sticks in your head there. Robin Williams, I think, got his start. Basically what made him a star was Mork and Mindy. If you remember that from the early 80s, Mork and Mindy, Robin Williams and Pam Daubert. I used to watch it because back then cable was only like 13 channels. So you really didn't have a whole lot to choose from, but I really didn't care for it. It still comes on some of the channels now, and if I was to come across it right now, I wouldn't watch it because I didn't care for it then, and I'm not going to like it now. I'm just not going to watch something like that just because the man is dead. I didn't like it. I just don't like it. But he played in some good movies. Mrs. Doubtfire. Now, I love Mrs. Doubtfire. Did you know that they were in the works of making a Mrs. Doubtfire too? Not sure how they were going to pull that one off and who he was going to become Mrs. Doubtfire for, because the original cast was coming back. Everybody was coming back. The woman who played his wife was coming back. The son was coming back. The only one that was not coming back to Mrs. Doubtfire 2 was the little girl, the daughter. And I'm not sure how they would have done that, of whether they would have just recast her part, or maybe would have had her off in college, or maybe even overseas. Not sure how they were going to do all of that Mrs. Doubtfire 2, but that was in the works. There's another movie with Robin Williams in it coming out in December, they said, and it's called Merry Friggin' Christmas. So that would be interesting to check out because, that's going to be funny. Robin Williams played in a movie, I think, in 1998 called What Dreams May Come. I remember me and my husband watched that movie, and it was really, really strange to think about that movie. Joe brought that movie up to me today, and he said he had just watched it the other day. But in the movie, Robin Williams plays a man who dies, and his wife had died, I think, before him. His wife committed suicide in the movie. And so he dies, and he's looking for his wife. And the angel, or whatever it is that's guiding Robin Williams through this to where he's supposed to be, while Robin Williams is looking for his wife, is telling Robin Williams, you're not going to find her. She's not here. And he tries to explain to him, that people who commit suicide go somewhere else. That's what he said. And so Robin was like, so what are you telling me? People who commit suicide go to hell? And he was really, really upset because he was really looking for his wife, saying that she had suffered enough, and he wanted to find her. But the thing of the whole movie was that he was dead, looking for his wife who committed suicide so that he could save her. And that was just strange. And something other about when they was talking about in that movie about him dying, he was like, well, who wants to be 63 forever, is what he said. And he was 63 when he died. That's bizarre. Robin Williams, they said he suffered from depression, had suffered from cocaine abuse and alcohol abuse in the past, but had been clean for about 20 years. They speculate he might have fallen off the wagon. He had put himself in a rehab this past summer is a, what do you call it? I'm not sure how he put it. To renew his sobriety or whatever. But anyway, you never know. He was suffering from depression. Depression, people think that depression is just when you're sad because things are not going your way and, oh, I'm so depressed, I'm so bored. That's not right at all. Depression is a disease. Excuse me. Depression is a disease. When I went to work the day after Robin Williams died, I heard two of the ladies talking about Robin Williams killing himself. And one of them said, what could have been so wrong that made him want to kill himself? He had everything. That's what they were saying. And so I told her, I said, but he suffered from depression. And it's like, well, what does he have to be depressed about? He has everything, No. Depression is a disease. And besides, you can have everything. You can have all the money in the world and this, that, and the other. Money does not buy you happiness. I don't know why people... It helps. Now, granted, I would love to have it and I wouldn't turn it down. But at the end of the day, it cannot buy you happiness. It cannot make you happy. So, I'm not sure if he was on any medication for his depression or any of that, but there was another movie. Okay, Mrs. Doubtfire 2 was set to be done. There was another movie he was working on but hadn't quite finished, so I'm not sure how they're going to finish that movie. I can't even remember the name of it that they said. And then, like I said, the movie that's coming out in December, Merry Friggin' Christmas. So I'm sure everybody will be watching that. So what do you think about Robin Williams' suicide? Were you shocked? What were you doing? I had already laid down for the evening, and my brother had made a post on Facebook. And so I jumped up, I looked on TMZ. They usually have all the news first, and they didn't have anything about it. So I Googled Robin Williams, and they didn't have anything about it. And so then CNN, one of the CNN news channels, had a ball game on. So I turned to one of the other ones, and they had it on breaking news. And then by the time I turned back to TMZ on the computer, they were getting it in. So yeah, it was very shocking, very surprising. His daughter wrote a note and said something about as much as he was loved, she couldn't understand why he wouldn't stay. So I'm sure your loved ones left behind, if you commit suicide, are going to think that, like you would kill yourself and leave me to feel this much pain. I worked with a woman at one time, back several years ago. Her husband shot himself. Excuse me, and killed himself one day while she was at work. Somehow he had called her, and he had been ill for some time. He was quite ill. And he had called her at work, and she had told him something about, I'm working. I told you can't call me just whenever you want to because I'm working. And that was the last time she talked to him. When she went home, he had killed himself. So, I'm sure she probably feels bad about that. But we're segueing off of Robin Williams here. What were you doing when you found out about Robin Williams? Were you shocked? Did you know he suffered from depression? And what are your views? And do you remember Mork and Mindy? And until next time, bye-bye.